Billionaire Ray Dalio just revealed his most recent massive stock picks that they invested in at Bridgewater in the first quarter of 2025. There are some very interesting ones in this list that I want to cover with you guys in this video here so that you guys, if you guys like some of these names, can have more information about potentially following some of the most successful investors of all time into some of these positions here. So before we get into all of that information, everybody, if you do enjoy the information and analysis I provide for you guys in these videos here, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it helps me out a whole lot, spreading this information out to as many people who actually want to learn. And again, if you never want to miss another video like this, make sure you guys are subscribed, turn on notifications so you're notified every time these videos do end up getting posted live. But let's get right into it here. First, I want to provide a little bit of a brief background to what's kind of been happening at Bridgewater, Ray Dalio's kind of prior firm here, over the last couple of years. So Ray Dalio actually stepped down from Bridgewater Associates, ceding his voting rights. But he said he will continue to mentor co-chief investment officers Bob Prince and Greg Jensen, as well as the investment committee. He will also serve as a member of the operating board and as a senior investor, meaning that Ray Dalio's money and capital are invested into these names. So the first one that I want to go over with you guys, top buys in this most recent 13F filing, is Alibaba here. Now, looking at the chart of Alibaba, again, this one in the first quarter of 2025 had a very, very significant move up from that low 80 area all the way up to this 146 area. Now, the long China trade has been, for some people, really over the last 5 years, kind of like the thorn in their side. A lot of these individual companies in China have had really, really solid earnings, but have been trading at what I like to call the CCP discount because the global market has deemed China to be really uninvestable over the last 5 years, but things have really started to change. And again, for those of you guys that have hung around this channel here or are in the private community, I did give out to all the members of that group Yin 3 times levered long the China ETFs here at around $20 a share. I ended up selling this position at around 51, sold half of it, made it free, and then sold the last bulk of it down at this area here right around 30. Again, if you guys do want to hop into that private trading and investing group with us, I'm running a crazy sale right now, 50% off your first 2 months. I mean, I'll list off everything that's in there. There is a lot that you guys get, both educational courses, the private live streams every day, the full list of stocks and cryptos that are about to explode before they do, the daily private live streams, the pre-market plans, the macro research reports, the weekly market research reports, the single stock research reports. Guys, it's highly reviewed for a reason. I've been doing this since I was 14 years old, learning from some of the most successful financial professionals in the world. If you guys want to join us in there, check out that link down below. But again, back to Alibaba here, you can see that their revenues were steadily moving to the upside here, have recently flatlined, again, showing that this company is maturing. It may not have as much growth as some investors or the market was thinking it was going to have previously, but it was trading at what I like to call that CCP discount, meaning that the market wasn't kind of giving Alibaba the flowers that it deserved, and that is why you saw a lot of these Chinese names starting to move significantly to the upside. And you are also seeing developments in the artificial intelligence space. I know a lot of you guys, probably most of you, heard about that little DeepSeek fiasco earlier on this year. Alibaba unveils Qwen 3, a family of hybrid AI reasoning models. This is something you may not know about. Chinese tech company Alibaba on Monday released Qwen 3. Again, this was a couple of weeks ago here, April 28th. And again, a family of AI models that the company claims can match and in some cases outperform the best models available from Google and OpenAI. Again, having competition in the artificial intelligence space is good, but the implications, again, of kind of this race to the top for AI is really going to determine where a lot of this value and capital is going to flow. And billionaires like Ray Dalio are making sure that they have their hand in every single element of the cookie jar or every single different cookie jar that they can to make sure that they are going to have money invested into the winner, whichever company that may be. Now, in terms of Ray Dalio's actual purchase of Alibaba in the first quarter of 2025, as we look over here, we can see that they increased their position at Bridgewater by 2,119%, a very significant increase to the prior position that they had. Now, going along with this Chinese theme here, they also increased their position relatively significantly here in a company called Baidu, another Chinese company here. And looking at the chart of Baidu, again, hasn't necessarily had as much love from the market as some of these other Chinese names, but when we throw this on a 12-month time frame here, it is still green on the year by about 9.71%. And along with that thesis that we were talking about with artificial intelligence, again, Baidu launches new AI model amid mounting competition. Chinese search engine giant Baidu launched its latest artificial intelligence model, Ernie 4.5 Turbo, on Friday. So this was back on April 25th. And again, as it ramps up AI product offerings amid mounting competition in the Chinese market here. So again, as you can see, there is a big theme with a lot of these billionaire players getting into the AI space. Now, what's actually interesting here is that if you look at the top sells in Ray Dalio's portfolio here with Bridgewater, they actually sold a decent amount of NVIDIA and Google. So when looking at this 13F report right now, what it looks like Bridgewater and Ray Dalio have done in the first quarter of 2025 is diversify out of American artificial intelligence companies like NVIDIA here and Google, and diversifying into more global artificial intelligence plays with a heavy emphasis on China. Now, moving over and taking a look at exactly what they did with their position in Baidu in the first quarter, they increased their position size by 956%, as you guys can see right here. And when you look at something like NVIDIA, they decreased their position size by about 18%, and Google right here by about 16%. Now, guys, next up on the list here, we have one of everybody's favorites, and that is Hims. When we start to move down this list here a little bit, let me see if I can find it. Bridgewater made a significant purchase of Hims in the first quarter here. Again, we can see that they increased their position size by 6,350% here. Again, this one in the first quarter of 2025 had a lot of volatility, started off the year right around that $26 area, ripped all the way back up here to around 72, 73, sold off with the market, and now after the market has started to rebound and getting some significant pieces of news like the Novo Nordisk partnership, and also this new Trump administration initiative where they are looking to decrease the cost of these pharmaceutical drugs in the United States, which could easily drive Hims subscriber growth and also average revenue per customer if customers are going to look at a lot of these different products and say, okay, there are a lot of products, they're a little bit cheaper here, I might be able to spend more on some of the different health initiatives that whatever anybody wants to accomplish here. Now, as I've said with Hims a couple of times in the past year, this is not one that I personally would buy right here. Again, just going back to some of the things that we've been talking about in the private trading and investing community, I did outline this one for you guys right on that $30 to $31 break. If we do end up seeing a pullback on Hims here, that could be a good spot to buy. But if I was outlining this one to everybody at between 30 and 31, and now the stock is trading at 61, again, that's not really an attractive purchase price for me, or I really don't think for anybody else. But again, it is your money. You can do whatever you want with it at the end of the day. But this one has been a big winner for retail investors and the institutional investors, specifically Bridgewater, in the first quarter of 2025 here. Now, next up on the list here is one that really just kind of shows Ray Dalio and Bridgewater's macro perspective as a whole with the way our current environment is in the broad macroeconomic landscape here, and that is gold GLD, the SPDR Gold Shares ETF. And as you can see, in the first quarter of 2025, gold has gone on an absolute moon mission inflation to the upside. Again, it is starting to shift to the downside now. And again, these 13F reports are delayed. They could have made these purchases anytime in the first quarter. And now that we are in the second quarter, we don't know if they have sold these positions or not, or added to them, or done completely nothing with them. But just kind of thinking about the overall thesis as to why an investor like Ray Dalio would be putting their money into gold. Well, gold is going to act as a safe haven asset in a lot of uncertain environments, especially when you have an overall investor base and a consumer, like I've shown you guys time and time again, that are very, very worried about inflation roaring back to the upside. If the dollar or global currencies are going to weaken due to the results of inflation, well, something like gold is going to continue to increase in value. And when you combine that with the additional amounts of uncertainty that we had going into this year, it makes a lot of sense as to why gold has made this significant move to the upside. Now, while a lot of those kind of short-term inflation fears right now are starting to calm down, what we really have to think about now, and something that I've been talking about in a lot of these recent YouTube videos, is the market now starting to slowly price in the possibility that the new Trump administration will actually meet some of their goals, and the results of those goals are actually pretty inflationary and lead to a lot of fiscal stimulus. You have US businesses being able to operate in a lot of different countries here, or even more countries opening up different markets. You have increased tariff rates, which can then lead to the potential for decreased tax revenues, giving consumers more disposable income to then go spend in the economy. All of those things are inflationary. And then you have a Federal Reserve that is going to be looking at specifically the macroeconomic data, GDP, unemployment, and inflation. And if everything lines up on that side, you could easily see some monetary policy shifts. As of right now, the overall market is projecting about 2 rate cuts this year. So now, while gold is now shifting into a little bit of a downtrend, I don't necessarily think that the movements to the upside in gold are over just yet, even though we are going to have to wait for a little bit of a pullback in the short term. Now, the last one on the list here, guys, is a very interesting one. So shout out to all of you guys who have made it to this point in the video. Now, it's not necessarily as interesting, really, as it relates to what it's doing on the charts, but really more so the trading activity of Bridgewater. And we're going to be talking about Palo Alto Networks right here. And when we come over and take a look at the trading activity of Bridgewater, they increased their position size in the first quarter of 2025 by 27,130%. That is a very substantial difference there from what their prior position size was. And as we can see over here, again, it hasn't had necessarily the best year so far. When we take a look at this on a 12-month time frame, it is up about 5% on the year so far. Again, for those of you guys that don't know what Palo Alto Network does, again, stateful inspection and port blocking are useless in today's landscape. They are a cybersecurity company here, guys. Networks have become more vulnerable because of fundamental shifts in the application landscape, user behavior, cybersecurity dynamics, and infrastructure. Software as a service, Web 2.0, social media, and cloud-based applications are everywhere. Mobile devices, cloud, and virtualization are fundamentally changing your network structure. The way your users consume and your company manages IT has made you more susceptible to security breaches and compromised data, and Palo Alto Networks helps prevent a lot of those breaches. Now, what's interesting about this one as well is we're looking at Nancy Pelosi's portfolio here, and Nancy Pelosi, again, as you guys can see down here, does also own Palo Alto Networks. So you have billionaire Ray Dalio investing or increasing his position by about 27,000% in the first quarter. You have Nancy Pelosi that owns this one, and you have a stock that on the charts right now is looking incredibly bullish going into earnings. Now, again, for those of you guys in the Less Trades, More Profits community, again, we would typically be looking to trade this type of setup here, looking for some of these breakouts to the upside, but we do have earnings coming up on this one on Tuesday, May 20th. So again, this is way too close to earnings for me to want to take a short-term trade or even kind of initiate a new kind of mid to long-term investment position in this one. I'd like to see that new information off of their earnings report that is coming out next Tuesday before I make a final decision as to whether or not this would be something that I would like to include in any one of my portfolios. So guys, that is going to wrap up this video here. Again, if you did enjoy the information and analysis I provided for you guys in this one, make sure you go down and hit that like button. Costs you nothing to do it, but it helps me out a whole lot in getting these videos out to as many people who actually want to learn about these things. And again, if you never want to miss another video like this, make sure you're subscribed, turn on notifications so you're notified every time these videos go live. But until next time, guys, I will see you. Peace.